So this week, the second season of Hazbin Hotel has finished airing, and it was bad. It wasn't good. And you might be asking why I watched it if I didn't think it was good. Well, because I hate myself, and because I will forever be frustrated that this is the face of indie animation to prove that you can actually get somewhere with enough passion and enough charm. It now has been like 2 days since it finished airing, and I've just had some time to think about all of it. And I just thought I would throw in my thoughts on this because it wasn't all bad. It was mostly bad, but not like all of it. For starters, both the animation and voice acting were superb, spectacular even. I really enjoyed both of these aspects. But sadly, these two things won't really make up for the lack of an actual story. But we will get to that later. I wanna glaze some things about this show actually a bit before I get to the things that like frustrated me to no end. To my surprise, I actually laughed a few times, like genuinely laughed. The bit where Serpentius tries to shoot himself in heaven, but it doesn't work, was actually hilarious. One of the songs turning into a mediocre anime opening was also pretty funny. And I hate to admit it, I laughed at one of the sex jokes. It was like the third or fourth episode, and Vaggie made a sexual innuendo to Charlie, and she just ignored it, like completely ignored it. And that was funny to me for a simple reason because I just didn't expect that. I was conditioned to think, haha, sex funny in the world of Hazbin Hotel. So this was essentially a subversion of the whole show in just one tiny joke. I'm sure they didn't intend it that way, but it was funny to me nevertheless. They went a bit more into the direction of a musical, which I actually quite enjoyed. I liked most of the songs. They were mostly pretty good, even though a lot of them had some, like, I would say, goofy parts and goofy lyrics at times, but that didn't make me enjoy it any less. Mainly all the songs Seraphim was in were really good, but my favorite was most definitely the last song of the show, Hear My Hope. And I'm not talking about the whole song. It was good, it was catchy. Your classic, all the friends come together to beat the common evil together, worked really well. But there were few parts that really stood out to me, mainly because they were the closest this show came to actually having characters or character development. It was Abel's part of the song and the lead up to it, and then also the bit between Rosie and Alistair. Why these parts were good, you may ask? Because they actually gave us what I would expect from a musical. They had characters talking to each other in song and building up to a moment that one of them had. Like having an actual character moment that happened only to Abel in the song. The fraud Alistair had only like the talk in song with Rosie. So I will just be glazing now Abel's part of the song because it actually gave us some sort of a character to work with. In this show, I couldn't tell you jack shit about any of these characters that are there. Genuinely none. And Abel, in the span of like 40 seconds, went from like a blank page that is annoying and just there to fill up space to an actual character. The show finally bothered to tell us something about someone. And so, what did we get to see? Well, Abel is wimpy, cowardly. He's a Nepo baby, way out of his depth in every situation he is. He is aware of how pathetic he is. And whenever the pressure comes down on him, he frankly wants to disappear or want to be anyone else, which we partially knew already from the few scenes he was in, but it was always played for a joke. This was like an actual character moment because we got to see that when an actual threat appeared, his body moved on his own to do the right thing. He asserted his authority, and him confronting Netanyahu, I mean Lut, in that moment was him saying, I am an actual character and you will respect me. A bit later, when they return to heaven, we got to see him being unsure, still nervously looking at the helmet he inherited from his father, hinting at his character arc not being over. It would be kind of lame if his character arc was over in one song. But something finally happened. And even Netanyahu, I mean Lut, got to benefit from this. Because when she was actually stopped by Abel, we now get to also actually say something about her as a character. We can now finally see that she is a spineless crony of a fascist authority that is long gone. She behaves all high and mighty as long as no one gives her a firm no, but when she is actually confronted by someone with an actual authority, she has no choice but to respect as a soldier. She falls, and that is simply because she's barely a person. She's just a hollow vessel carrying nothing but senseless hatred. You could sensibly pick this all up along the show, but the show never acknowledged it in any way up until now. As much as I liked this moment, I'm also a little disappointed in it because in the end it's just a moment that happened. I can't help but to feel that this was on accident, that this wasn't planned, that they just made a scene that they thought looked cool, and just by sheer luck it worked. So I'll just jump to the bad stuff, to the bad stuff. I'm not gonna talk about everything because I could be here for ages, but some of the most egregious stuff I think is the pacing. That was straight up horrible. Things kept things kept happening just like that at a snap of a finger. We got a cut to a different scene, and boom, a development of some sort that wasn't built up in any way. It wasn't a payoff to anything. It just happened. A lot of songs suffered from this. Something was happening, and then we just cut away to a different scene, and someone started singing about something. Even though the song was good, it was just like so out of nowhere that you can barely care. And with that, I kind of have to talk about the plot, even though there really isn't any. Or what could be resembling a plot is happening only because Charlie got a lobotomy between the seasons. She genuinely had to walk into the evil lair, to the evil looking mustache twirling asshole for anything to actually happen. And I'm not exaggerating, that's pretty much what happened. The obviously evil guy who was slandering her for like few weeks, I think. I wouldn't fucking know because we get no actual sense of time in this show. I have no idea if it happened all in like a month, two, or just like 3 days. Probably could be anything. And this man who just like keeps slandering her is like a prominent political force in hell and is a fucking media conglomerate owner. Just like obviously baits her into a situation where she can look bad and she just like goes for it all excited like a moron, like an actual moron, so we can have like an actual justification for stuff happening. And like things were happening but not really because it wasn't really saying anything, now was it? Try to tell me what the show was trying to say besides the obvious Hazbin Hotel stuff that like that a community of friends and loved ones is important. We already knew that from the pilot, pretty much. So what was this season, the second season of the show, actually trying to say? That fascism bad? I mean, that can be an interesting thing. Like if we maybe got to see a political takeover, a power shift in hell, that could pretty much. Oh, right. We didn't get to see that. They told us it happened off screen between seasons because Alistair let himself be captured, and that for some reason meant that Vox suddenly gained so much power that he essentially took over the city? Like, how? Why? Why capturing him now makes any difference? And if he had any political sway, why didn't we get to see Vox winning people over? It just happened off screen. But like we touched on politics a little, right? So, Vivzi introduced this like little concept of a caste system, at the top of which sits Lucifer, the king of hell, Actually, he doesn't, I guess, because when he was asked to like actually fucking do something with the fascist uprising, he just said, "Oh, yeah, no." When asked why, he said, it just doesn't work like that. I can't hurt sinners." Why? Why can't you hurt sinners? Because the story needs you to stay a passive joke of a character. They they played him so fucking dirty. He did nothing since the first season. Basically nothing. He's played for a loser, absolute loser who just stands around doing nothing. And back to the fucking politics of hell. If he's the king, why does no one respect him? I understand that he was like gone for a long time, a deadbeat father. Yeah, but like his name should mean something because if it doesn't, how come he's the king of hell? Does he, if he can't do anything with Vox, doesn't he have an army, a royal army that he can send? What about the seven deadly sins? What about Satan? Like, does no one listen to him? And that's the thing. If no one listens to him and no one respects him, why is he the king? And by extension, this applies to Charlie too. She's the princess of hell. She's, with her mother, the second highest on this scale. But that is a problem because Vivzi kind of said all of this neither in Has-Been or Hell of a Boss, just in like interviews and Twitter posts. But she, but I understood that it was made pretty explicit that this is canon. But that is a fucking problem because if it was an actual caste system, no story would happen. Has-Been as it is right now wouldn't fucking work because no one would actually dare to do shit to Charlie and Lucifer, right? If their status actually meant something, the V's wouldn't fucking dare to say the things they did to Charlie. It's a fucking caste system for aesthetics. For aesthetics, caste system. Social segregation into social classes based on birth for aesthetics. That's fucking wild. Jesus fuck. Just to like stay in the realms of like politics. Like Netanyahu, I mean loot, right? What's her fucking deal? People told her that actually, oh, you can't commit genocide anymore. And she kept throwing a temper tantrum after a temper tantrum. Jesus fucking Christ. That's all she is. She's just a vessel for committing genocide. She knows nothing else. But the show doesn't work with it in any way, so it means fucking nothing, so just frustrating because she just keeps throwing tantrums over not being able to kill civilians anymore. It's fucking crazy! And next up on the chopping block is Alistair, the off screen demon of disappointment. I fucking can't with this guy. Because I still like him. I fucking can't with him, but I still fucking like him. Why? Because he's cool and he has charisma. Like, he just works at a fundamentally superficial level, right? To me, he resembles a devil from European folklore, right? A well mannered, well dressed person who's cunning and conniving and that makes deals with you that monkey paw your soul away from you. But that's that, he just looks cool. That's all. There's nothing else to him. He's supposed to be the strongest. He's supposed to be the strongest sinner. He loses every fight he's in. On screen, that is. He beats fucking father off screen, no problem. There's this air of mystique around him, but that means fucking nothing if we literally know nothing about the man. And no, the flashback helped in no actual way. He had some deal with Rosie. We do not know what. We do not care. We get nothing. Just a bum. Just a man who keeps losing fights he should be winning. It's an empty promise of a character, it's just a painting on the wall. And the wall got fucking torn down 3 weeks ago. There's just a hole now. And lastly, I would just like to talk about Angel for a bit. Angel Dust. A fair warning, a fair trigger warning. Rape and sexual assault are basically the core of Angel's backstory and character, and I will try my best to treat it with respect it deserves. So, for that, I will tone down my little crash out over this silly little animated show. So, in this season, we found out that not only was Angel being raped by Val, one of the three main villains, but also Vox, the main villain. Not in the physical way per se, or possibly, who knows, the main villain is a friend with a rapist, but essentially like mind raping Angel, brainwashing, reading his memories, forcing him to do his bidding against Angel's will for Vox's own good benefit entertainment with no regard for Angel as an actual person. At the very least, Angel was in this case assaulted in a different way than physical, right? But I would argue still in a very severe way. So I don't know how else to put this, but could this show, for all that is holy in this world, stop playing the main villains, two of the main villains that are rapists, or at the very least, abusers, physical and emotional abusers, for fucking jokes constantly? You show us all this horrific shit they do to a character we're supposed to care about, to Angel, and then you turn around and say, but one of them is sad that the other one is not paying attention to him as much as he did. Are you fucking kidding me? Do you think I will care that these pieces of subhuman filth have a little lover's quarrel between them? Fuck them. I hope they die. I hope they kill themselves. Jesus fuck. Could you not play them for jokes constantly? And that's what I mean when I say the show isn't saying anything, because it presents this horrific situation that is happening to one of the characters, but it acknowledges it only like partially, maybe sometimes, on a utterly surface level, but works with nothing that this story beat provides. I'm not saying it shouldn't be there. I'm saying it should be handled properly in a better way. The show is just not saying anything. And like at the end, the three main villains, I keep saying three, there are three, just like only two of them are relevant in any way. I already forgot the name of the third one. And at the end, they just walk away. They just walk away. Everyone just lets them walk away. Like Team Rocket blasting off again to come back later and presumably abuse Angel more. So that's all I had to say. At least that's like the most important things that I thought were supposed to be said about the show, about the second season. I would say I'm disappointed, but like I didn't expect much. And I'm a fucking loser, so I will be back for the third season. I think there are supposed to be 4 seasons at least, so I will keep torturing myself until it's over, because I can then keep complaining about something. If for some reason you are here and haven't watched the show, good, don't. It's not worth your time. And I just want to end on a more positive note. So whoever watched Hazbin Hotel, I'm gonna assume pays for Prime Video or has other ways of acquiring shows. Wink, wink, wink. Not that I would know of any, and I would not condone of any. Go check out the Mighty Nine animated series based on the Critical Role D&D live play. There are 2 episodes out so far, and I saw both of them. They are really fucking good. The production seems to be really high on it. I haven't seen any of Critical Role's live plays. I'm trying to keep up with the newest one at the moment, but that's about it. I barely have time for that, and I definitely don't have time to catch up with like the 1200 hours of Critical Role content that came before it. So this seems like an actually great way to be introduced to a gripping story with interesting characters. My only nitpick with it so far would be that every character is not voiced by Matt Mercer, but I guess I can let that slide. Once again, thank you for listening to me ramble. I hope you can have a great rest of your day, and I'm gonna go play some Disco Elysium now.